am so sorry for everything that has happened. In spite of what Mike says now, it is my fault. Because it was my project. And it's all because of me that we're here now. Hungry, cold, and hunted.
A found footage film is a subgenre where the film is presented as a video recording, often left behind by a missing or even a dead protagonist. The found footage genre existed way before the Blair Witch Project came out. The film that is usually credited for inventing the genre is Cannibal Holocaust back in 1980. While I myself haven't seen the film, Cannibal Holocaust is known for its controversy of using real-life animals and putting them down just for the movie, if you know what I mean. Before the Blair Witch film came out in 1999, found footage films were very rare and the genre had not gained widespread popularity just yet. As for the reception of the genre, well, people weren't really sure how to react to the new subgenre in horror. Lots of people weren't familiar with the film's techniques and it was still really new. Everything was about to change for the genre once the Blair Witch Project was released at the Sundance Film Festival. The film was about 3 filmmakers who disappeared after traveling into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local legend of the Blair Witch, leaving only their footage behind. The film garnered lots of attention before it was even released in theaters. With a budget of $60,000, the Blair Witch Project made $248 million worldwide. Again, while Cannibal Holocaust is credited for creating the found footage genre, the Blair Witch Project was the film to popularize the genre. It was the 10th highest grossing film in America in 1999, and it became a pop culture phenomenon. So how did the Blair Witch Project become a huge success? Well, in today's video, my friend, I will be going over the backbone of what made this film a success. It's because of the genius marketing strategy. The first thing I would like to mention is the plot of the movie itself. If you heard about a movie where 3 people were searching for a so-called witch and then not long after disappeared in the middle of the woods, and the only thing that was found from them was the footage they left behind, you probably might have wanted to go see it or even be somewhat interested of what happened to the 3 filmmakers. Not only horror fans, but maybe even a casual viewer of horror movies would have been interested in watching it. I can't really say that I have seen a movie similar to the Blair Witch Project before this film came out. Maybe the closest is the Friday the 13th movies, but what separates the Blair Witch from Friday the 13th was the handheld shakiness of the camera and the characters speaking into the camera. Not once a character from the Friday the 13th movies interacts or even looks at the camera. The Blair Witch Project was one of the first films to ever apply this type of technique. Going back to the story of the film, what inspired Daniel Merrick and Eduardo Sanchez, who were the directors of the film, was folklore, myths, and urban legends. These myths included stories like Bigfoot, Area 51, or Bloody Mary. With learning the backstories of these myths and urban legends, the directors were able to create their own fictional legend of the Blair Witch. They drew on common themes found in folklore about haunted places, curses, and of course, witches. The most popular marketing strategy the directors used was creating a website for the film. Around the late 90s, the internet was still new and it really wasn't used as much as we use it today in 2024. Since the internet was relatively new at the time, most users didn't have the knowledge or even knew how to navigate the internet like how we do today. While not everyone believed in everything they read on the internet in the 90s, there was a more higher trust in online content than today. It was way easier to spread misinformation back then, and that's how the creative team for the Blair Witch managed to create the website for the movie. The website contained fake news articles and even predetermined interviews of locals who lived in Burkittsville, Maryland, where the film took place, including fabricated police reports and missing person posters for the three main characters. They even used the actor's real name for the film to make the film seem more realistic. It was a perfect strategy because everyone who visited the website before the movie was released thought that the events that occurred in the movie were real, or at least thought that it was based on real events. The strategy was designed to blur the lines between fiction and reality. Since the internet was still fairly new, the internet played a huge role of tricking people into thinking the Blair Witch Project was real. And the last marketing strategy is the creative team's decision of not showing the witch in the movie. If you saw the movie for the first time, you were probably expecting to see the witch somewhere in the middle of the movie or even at the ending. It turns out that wasn't the plan at all for the directors. They never planned on showing the Blair Witch at all. Movies today focus on building tension and then showing the jump scare that the audience were expecting. The Blair Witch Project, on the other hand, kept building tension and even more tension. With all this tension built up since the three filmmakers set foot into the woods and never showing a witch, it shows that the directors were focusing more on the psychological aspect of what could have been seen. The directors believed that fear is more powerful when it is left to the imagination. The characters fear of what they couldn't see, but feel like something is constantly watching them, taps into the human emotion of fear. Eduardo Sanchez mentioned that if they had $100 million budget to make the movie, he really thought that they would have ruined the film by having someone dressed up as the witch. That is why he believes that they made the right choice of not showing the Blair Witch at all. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Blair Witch Project. Today, it is still talked about as being the greatest found footage movie of all time. It inspired countless found footage movies that came after it, like Paranormal Activity, REC, and Cloverfield. All of these films used unique marketing strategies that helped played on the found footage format's deep-rooted realism. These helped these films stand out from the crowd, with now a much more crowded horror genre full of found footage movies. With that being said, the filmmakers for the Blair Witch Project made a phenomenon that captivated audiences and set a new standard for how films could be marketed. It introduced the world to what a group of small, independent filmmakers could possibly create with a genius marketing strategy that was planned accordingly.